Alright, so I have a 2004 Toyota Tundra, and I wanted to show you something because it saved me about $300 on the rear window, the central window regulator. So I'll show you how to get these panels off, but what I did was I took a screwdriver and loosened the screws. There's two screws right here, one on this side and one on the other side. I just loosened those enough that I could get some WD-40 and spray it in the crack. And then of course I let it settle down because I didn't want it to catch on fire once I hooked the power back up. I disconnected the battery, by the way, while I was doing that. Then I wrapped it a few times with a rubber hammer, just gently, to make sure that it was settling in there well. And then when I went back and turned the ignition on and tried it, it immediately started rolling up and down again. So it had stuck in the up position, which was good because I was able to ignore the repair for quite a while. So, all right. I wanted to also point out I had a fire extinguisher handy, just in case anything happened with the WD-40, which, as most of you know, is quite flammable. So, this inner panel is pretty easy to get off. It's just 10mm bolts, and all the way around. And then there's two small trim panel fasteners or attachments that are just there really to help you line it up. I mean, they're actually come in pretty handy for that. So now that you've got and you do have to take off again I would unhook the battery, but you do have to take off the power supply for the stereo system. You just have to take, there's two bolts back here that you can see, 10mm bolts, and then there's one right there, and then you can it's just wires, so you can lay it down onto the carpet there, and then there's behind there's two other 10mm bolts for this cover panel, and it's steel. So the inner trim panel has got, as you can see, numerous plastic trim fasteners. You can see there's two here. These two are a different color, and those are replacement ones that I found in my collection that I ordered from Amazon, actually. So I broke those two while I was taking it off. Now they all pull straight out, so that's the good news. And then in order to change the tab, all you have to do is it slides out of that little slot there. Perhaps you can see it better that way. And it's got a lip on the edge, and then you just slide it back in there. In case any of these, sometimes some of these stayed in the steel part and they pulled all the way through, but none of these broke, so I was kind of pleased with that. And I recommend using plastic trim tools to do your prying. I'll also show you where there's a couple of fasteners that go on there as well. Alright, so this is one of the more interesting things. You can see I cleaned the panel up nicely, and I pressed it back into place. It actually went in very easily. Now these little fasteners here, they are very unusual. When you take these out, you literally have to pull just this outside edge. If you get behind it like that, it won't release. So you can see there's like a little square hole in there. Let's see if I get lucky enough to get it on the first try. I missed it, but I'll put it in later. But that's how it works. So this thing's a little bit hard to do with one hand, but the idea is when it goes through this square hole in the steel, it'll then fasten the plastic. So I pushed on the base of it first and then push it in like that, and then it's attached. Now when you take it off, again, you only pull the outside edge like that, and then it releases and comes out at the same time. So it's a little tricky, but it's really not hard once you get the hang of it. It's just kind of an unusual fastener. And then the one last thing, there's a 10mm bolt here in the center with a little door in front of it, and the door can be opened fairly easily with just a normal pick like this, and then the 10mm bolt goes down inside there. So, and that's it. You're back together.